This is Talking My Walking. I am Rodrigo Ribeiro, and today I'm going to talk about the ubiquity of perception management. In theory, we live in representative democracies, but the reality is exactly that the reality is we live in managed democracies, and the reality of our lives is perception management. It is everywhere. It is normalized. It has been naturalized, and it's just our environment. We don't even. I mean, we do not really. Uh, Many of us do not care about that anyways. We just live. We just try to survive and go along to get along, and that's it. But that we should ask, why do we need to live in societies where or with perception manage with where the perception manage is ubiquitous? Why do we need that? Why do we need to be uh, to be to live in permanent deception? We live in a reality that is basically deception. This is nothing to do with the people say that this reality is not real because blah 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 blah. That's another story. It's nothing to do with what I want to talk about. Um, because what I want to talk about is a manufactured reality. It's a reality that is because there are people that try to benefit and to control, to benefit economically, financially, and for reasons of power and control. And this is exactly why we have this ubiquitous um, uh, um, perception management. This reality has nothing to do with the human condition. It is a product of human activity, of the human society, but of a particular society and civilization that where people uh, and the so-called success and depends on on perception manipulation, depends on other forms of manipulation. Every tool, there is a kind of a toolkit or a toolbox um, where manipulation, where you have all tools, possible tools to manipulate people. But perception manipulation is one. It's the one that is ubiquitous, that it is everywhere, everywhere. To sell us wars, regime change operations, uh, uh, cleaning materials, beauty products, um, politicians, everything, everything. What to think, what to do with your life. This is perception manipulation. If you do not understand it like that, you don't understand it, because this is about perception manipulation. And the problem is that we believe that when we believe that we are immune to it, that's exactly when we are the first to fall for it. Um, because it's not. There are so many ways, and there are so many means to these days. With the internet, there was already perception management was already present everywhere, but um, with the internet now it's ubiquitous because we just bring it with us everywhere. We have these devices with us that almost in any place we can turn on the perception management tool. um, and that is I mean, in my opinion, we should understand that's not how, I mean, that's not how we should live. This is not desirable. We should not want it. We should repeal it. We should refuse to live like this. Instead of finding it natural and normal and part of human nature, and to try um, to excuse it, and that we just need to adapt to it, because that's where the problem lies. That we, or many or most of us, just believe that what we need to do is to adapt, because that's what we were told is part of perception management, that adaptation, the ability to adapt, is a survival tool, and this is part of the evolutionary process. Therefore, we that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. We don't have to ask why do, but we have to do. But we have to understand that our environment is not a natural environment. A society and the civilization and the culture and countries and nations and whatever we have for type of forms of groups we have as human beings and communities, we create artificial environments, and those artificial environments has nothing to do with the laws of evolution. They have to do with the laws of manipulation. And once we allow this uh, to create a system where some can control others, and that is not written anywhere, that it's not how we survived for hundreds of thousands of years. It is obvious that was unity, that it was required cooperation, unity, not individualism, in order to survive, for a species like ours to survive. That is what it was. Not there was the need for trust, cooperation. Is it difficult to perceive that we could not have survived if we were live like we live today, competing with each other for crumbs? Actually, for most of us, it's just competing for crumbs. When people say that we need to think outside the box, it's exactly what we need to do. We need to doubt, to be skeptical about the reality where we are supposed to adapt. because that reality is a reality that is not built by us. It has we are just supposed to be consumers and followers, and look for a job and try to have a career, and try to survive, try to raise a family, all those things that we are supposed to do, which then I'm not saying that they are wrong. It's not about that. It's about that we have we just allow the system to be created, designed, to be legalized, to have legal codes and moral codes, um, that naturalize certain values and principles and rules and habits and behaviors. Uh, that everything that compose a human community, but they are uh, there is entities, there are professions, uh, scientific specialties, which means academic and scientific specialities, and we can call it the public the uh, public relations uh, industrial complex. That's what I call it. Uh, Public relations industrial complex, which we can also where that this industry, let's put it this way, um, works for other industries in order to create narratives that that have the purpose to manage perception. But the perception management is also to manage our behavior, to colonize our minds, to shape our behaviors, to shape our will, to shape our desires, to shape the perception, the self-perception, because this is a whole package. This is not only, it is not something that is separated. This is an environment. This is an ecosystem. An ecosystem that is to manufacture consent. So, and then we always have these discussions and these slogans and about democracy and freedom and this and that and choice. I mean, this is exactly part of the game. In reality, we have very little. Of course, we have choice. Of course, but it's very limited. We have. I mean, I have to go back to always the word, the concept of agency. We have very little agency. We do not participate in the making of anything because we are too divided, and that division is also manufactured because it's part of the main culture that we are supposed to. It is the kind of mentality, the individualistic mentality, the self-centered mentality that we have to try to make our point. We do not want to be collectivists. We do not want to really try hard to commit ourselves to build unity, in this case class unity. No, we have to look for uh, what the other did wrong or were not able to see. In order to see the guy is wrong. What's that? What kind of culture is that? If we always try to find the flaws, uh, to find the if what we do when we if the purpose of our uh, our work is or when we review other people's work is just to find flaws and incongruencies in order to have a point that says that are wrong, because the point is we should point out the flaws and the incongruencies of others, but not the purpose of enhancing our own, you know, uh, as a form of self-promotion. But exactly the point is not about winning the discussion. Not it's not about uh, we should refuse to be sophists. Uh, that's not what matters. What matters is truth, is the pursuit of truth and justice through intellectual honesty, through openness, not by following authorities and experts and talking heads and pundits and celebrities and influencers and whoever it is, because that's not our human community. Our human communities are built, and that's not how we have survived over so many millennia. Because, you know, I am here trying hard to convey a message. I'm not trying to manipulate anyone, intentionally at least, and I do not care. I know I I care, but I do not care in terms that you are going to find flaws in my oral speech uh, and incongruencies and you know, errors and things are incomplete. Yeah, because that's I'm a human being. I'm not a machine. I do not have a mechanistic understanding of human beings. I have an holistic, and by holistic I mean that's not about me. I want to be. I perceive that my life is meaningless without the life, without society, without the societal inputs. Let's put it this way. This beautiful word. Um, so that's why I mean, I truly believe that we need to to come to terms with this society, with the type of society where we live, and civilization and the imperialistic civilization. We need to do it for our sake, for the sake of the future of humanity. This is, we have the ability, is part of our nature and human condition, to build these artificial environments that us, and we have the arbitrarily create conditions and rules and laws that 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 are going to abuse and be and have negative consequences on our on human beings, because when we create these artificial systems, if we do not respect our social condition, and we create these ideologies of individual interest and wealth accumulation and private property primacy, you know, proprietary rights primacy, and hierarchy and everything else that goes with the society we have. I mean, we are going to uh, we not only destroy our humanity and humanize us, in spite of what kind of technological and cultural sophistication and civilizational sophistication that we achieve, we are destroying our humanity, and we are even betting in transhumanizing us. That means that we are supposed to overcome our condition through technology, the limitations of our condition through technology, through technofixism. This religion, through supported by the religion of technofixism and technoscientism. And this is part of the process that we are dominated, our societies are dominated by ubiquitous perception management. That's why we cannot live in true democracy, because it is impossible. We need a managed democracy. It's not even democracy, but let's call it managed democracy, for to have the conditions for the primacy of perception management, and we are all involved in it as producers and as consumers. Of course, as producers, most of us are very limited. We are not the ones that have the resources or the knowledge or the power or the means to design and implement the narratives and all the rest for all the weapons of mass deception that are involved in the process of perception management. But we all are invited to participate in it, especially as consumers, as spectators, consumers, spectators, followers. This is only the agency for most of us. That's the only kind of agency that we are allowed to have. Perception management is about confusing us, indoctrinating us, uh, tribalizing us, making us feel annihilate. Oh, I'm sorry, alienated, and is 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 uh, is not a single. It is really multi-layer, multi-facet, multi-dimensional scheme, uh, because what works with some doesn't work with others. Therefore, it's not only one narrative; it's multiple narratives that uh, they expect to. Some are designed for specific targets uh, and public, um, but they all have the same purpose: just to transform us into useful idiots, and to accept, uh, to be submissive, or to be tribalized for the ones that are more more in the radical rebel side, uh, that that they want them as part of tribes, of groups, radicalized groups that can really do the beating for them. So perception management is about instrumentalizing us, indoctrinating and instrumentalizing us, to use us as tools. It's for manufacture consent, but it's also to use us as tools against each other, to weaponize us against each other. It's that's the divide to conquer principle. It's the it's how the ruling class uh, can obtains can manage us. It's about management. And my point is, I believe we deserve better. We do not. We deserve to live as human beings with all our flaws and incongruencies, and all our problems and conflicts, and that's that that's that, but we can do much better. We can have societies that really work for the well-being of everybody. You know why? Because we can really see through the bullshit. It's not that difficult. For example, if a person, if an individual, or a group, or a political party, or organization, or whatever, for example, defends the existence of child labor, or slavery, or to whatever it is, okay? But at the same time, they believe or they defend that they themselves or their family members or the people that are of a certain race or group because they have some merit, or because of they are entitled, or they have certain privileges. They they do not need to. They should not be part of that. Be subjected to that condition. You already know what you need to know, because my principle is exactly that. Whatever I defend, if I defend slavery, therefore I must be the first to say, okay, I, I put my life on the line, and I also want it for my children and my family, and so we only have to be consistent, and we can be in certain things there is incongruency and flaws, but we can also apply the principle of consistency in terms of values and principles and norms and rules. There can be consistency for for in the pursuit of truth and justice. This is not theoretical. This is not utopic. This can be done uh, in realistic terms. It can be applied. We just cannot uh, what we the first law that we need to. We cannot be hypocritical, and we cannot defend one thing for ourselves and defend another thing for others. And by the way, by doing that, what we are allowing is for the worst people amongst us to take over power. I mean, to control the law mechanism, the code of they will codify the law to defend themselves, and to protect themselves, and they will create the narratives in order to glorify themselves. So this is pretty simple. This we start from understanding basic principles and values, and 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 uh, and and uh, and understanding that those principles and values can never be put can never be relativized. Okay, and then we can there is no we and then we will go slowly into more complex. We start from the simple understanding and simple rules and principles that respect values that are cannot be I mean, it's not about putting them into question. It's about they are universal or they are not universal. Do we accept them as universal or not? It's not. I'm not talking about dogmatic stuff. I'm talking about principles as I tried to give the example. There is only there are only justifications because there is an important. We can always justify anything. Crimes, homicides, genocide. I mean, there is plunder, destruction, exploitation. Anything can be justified. That 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 is exactly what we need. We need to have a society that can be protected against those kind of justifications. Because the ones that want to exploit others or to control resources or peoples on territories, they will always have the same argument. When you try to say, okay, no, we need to divide this, you cannot control everything. Uh, they will always find a way, or they will always have people paying people to work for them to produce the narratives that allow them to say, no, we are the job creators. We need to, you cannot touch us because without us, society cannot survive. You know, we cannot abolish slavery because civilization is going to collapse. We need child labor because, you know, so, I mean, we cannot give, we cannot allow women to vote because they are mentally inferior, or they are hysteric or something. Okay, we always can fall. It's about perception, and again, perception management, ubiquitous perception management. Applied across the board. Do not think that people, for example, like the atheists, uh, uh, like the people in the new atheism movement. Um, I mean, I don't remember the name. Oh my gosh, Richard Dawkins, for example, or the other guy, American guy. Uh, I don't remember his name now. They are full of shit. They are delusional. What does it mean that they do not believe? They demonize religion, okay, but at the same time they are fundamentalists. They do not, and that's why if they do not, if they are not open to discuss, every person that's not open to discuss our beliefs, whether they are religious or secular, uh, scientific, or whatever they are supposed to be, we always need, and that's a scientific principle, by the way, that they are always, they need to be always open to discussion. That's out of question. What's not out of question is the consistency of values, the value of dignity of life, and the values that we want for ourselves, in spite of we can never think that there are inferior people or inferior animals that do not deserve, you know, that do not have the merit, do not have the dignity, do not, those values and rights do not apply to them. Okay, and then we immediately open the Pandora box. The exceptions, if there is exceptions, if there is an exception that for some reason that I'm not, that we find uh, uh, exceptions, they always need to be used to prove the rule, not the opposite. Because otherwise we will have a you go downhill in a process of the humanization that, again, as I said, it doesn't matter how sophisticated we are in terms of technology and the culture and all the engineering and architecture and all the beautiful devices we have. Doesn't matter. We are, that's the road to serfdom, to, to, to a form of serfdom. I mean, you know, uh, when was not Hayek, who was the guy that wrote The Road to Serfdom? It was Hayek, or was it the other guy? It doesn't matter. What matters is that we have been, it was, and it is the imperialistic civilization in the capitalist system that is driving us towards a technocracy. It's not communism, because communism almost doesn't exist. Is It really doesn't exist, by the way. It doesn't really exist. It exists in principle. In reality, it doesn't exist. Um, because we have a system that is based on the accumulation and growth and debt and the primacy of private property that is even considered a natural right, which is just a lie, a blatant lie. Private property. There is even today maybe people in this world that do not even understand what that is. That conceptions have always been created by people that were searching, that they want power. It's not about that you have your little house in a hill or in a prairie, you know. It's not about that. The point is that we are so the perception management is not only ubiquitous, is I mean we I mean we do not understand that what we are doing to ourselves is not only unnecessary, it is criminal. That we need to, I mean, again, we can adapt, you know, we can do, we can be evil, we can be a lot of things, but we can also do much better. We can use what we already achieved, in spite of all the destruction we caused, and we are still, and this transition, this so-called energetic transition, is also a very destructive process. But we could at least use it to transition to a society and a civilization, and an ecological, holistic civilization, that would be much better for all of us, instead of fighting each other for crumbs. That's what we are, competing with each other for crumbs, and always worried because we do not feel safe. Of course, how can we feel safe? Because we don't live in a society that is what the society, the type of society where we live. That it's true that It's more about individuals fighting each other and contributing with their labor and energy and skills and intellect to, to allow the accumulation of wealth and the concentration of power in the hands of the very few. That's that's supposed to be the goal of our lives, um, and that to me is an absurdity. And again, I'm going to quote Voltaire: "If they can make you believe absurdities, then can make you commit atrocities." That is it for today. Thanks for listening. I will be back soon.